The news has finally released the pictures of the 6 officers involved in Freddie Gray's death. Now, obviously, from what you see in the picture, 3 out of 6 of the officers are black. The interesting thing about it is the videotape only shows white officers moving the black suspect into the back of a van, police van. In the video, the portions that I actually saw, because most of the pieces of these videos you see are usually edited, I only saw the white officers moving him into the back of the van, at which point I did notice that his legs seemed to be not moving or unresponsive. And in my opinion, what the officers should have done was they should have left him on the ground handcuffed, and they should have waited for EMS. So my thing is, I don't know what these officers' records are. You won't know that until much later. But I really doubt that all of these officers have major negative reports or major complaints from the community in their records. And obviously all of this is going to come out. But the thing about it is, it's amazing, people shouting for justice and they're saying no justice, no peace. Me personally, I really don't consider justice when a black mayor and a black attorney general expedite a case against cops in order to appease a rioting mob. I don't consider that justice. I consider that appeasing a mob. And in my opinion, it really shouldn't matter what color a mayor is. It really shouldn't matter what color an attorney general is. It really shouldn't matter what color the police are. The problem is we're dealing with a society who thinks constantly in race, who's constantly reminded about things that happened 100, 200, 300, 400 years ago, and who refuse to move past those things from the past. Are there still racists out there? Oh yeah, definitely. There's plenty of us on Facebook talking shit and posting, racist memes, if you want to call it that. And it's sad because the majority of the people who want to cry racism are the same people who actually say racist things when it basically appeases them. So my thing is, oh yeah, there's plenty of them. And they're not all white. They're not all black. They're not all Hispanic. They're not all Asian, etc., whatever. I don't really like to preface statements with disclaimers, but the very simple fact of the matter is, in this case, 3 of those officers were black. So do you want me to believe that the 2 white officers beat him up in the back of the van and threw him into a bolt that's in the van and he broke his neck like Sub-Zero? I don't necessarily believe that, because in this day and age, most cops know that somebody's recording something. Most cops know that if anything happens to a suspect, especially if they're white cops and the suspect's black, they know they're going to be under scrutiny. That's why I really believe that what they should have done was they should have just left him on the ground and they should have waited for EMS to get there. This way it wouldn't have turned into what it turned into. And when I say turned into, I mean how quickly the quote-unquote protests became riots and mobs. I'm amazed that this country hasn't learned anything after the Ferguson riots and looting. I'm really amazed that the people watching who know that they're going to protest and whatnot, I'm really amazed that they haven't learned anything from Ferguson. I'm amazed that the government hasn't learned anything from Ferguson. There's people who are criticizing the mayor about saying that she basically allowed the protesters to have space to riot and loot. And the thing about it is she's obviously trying to say that she had nothing to do with that, even though when you watch the videotape, it's pretty clear that she gave them carte blanche to do what they wanted to do. It didn't take a genius to know exactly what was going to happen. If you paid any attention to what happened in Ferguson, you already knew exactly what was going to happen. So why weren't the citizens protected? Why is it that the police are standing still with their hands held while the only person out trying to stop any of the rioters was a single black mother trying to stop her son from doing something stupid, which could have just as easily caused him to end up like Freddie Gray or caused him to end up behind bars with a criminal record? Where were all of the parents to stop their kids from being on the street rioting? Where were all the parents to stop their kids from being at the stores attempting to break in so that they could steal the latest pair of Air Jordans or the latest 4K television or the latest Apple Watch? I would argue that if Freddie Gray's parents were active in his life as disciplinarians, that he wouldn't have had any level of a record that would have caused him to end up in the situation that he's in. Strangely enough, everybody's attacking the black mother for attacking her son on national television and doing her best at that moment to stop him from getting himself in deep trouble. Frankly, if I was her, I'd be on television telling everyone who's criticizing what parenting skills she did show to STFU.